Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to But Am I Wrong? The podcast.
The fantastic, wonderful, beautiful, amazing, life-changing podcast from the two hotties with bodies. You know what someone told me? So I edited a bunch of photos of like what I would look like with a BBL. Because it's
I
like
saw them and I told you to stop.
never. One of my favorite things ever is just like picturing that. Because like as much as people say that like, oh, you know, you can buy whatever kind of body you want, to an extent, yes, that like I have like such a straight up and down body type. Like my waist is pretty similarly like sized to my chest and my hips.
It fits you.
It does. I'm like lanky and like kind of straight up and down. And so for fun, I like to pretend what it would look like or think about what it would look like if I got a BBL, which if you are unfamiliar, because apparently some people were like, what's a BBL? And I was like, what TikTok For You page are you on? Because like that's how Mott's finally learned about it. But it's a Brazilian butt lift and you will just notice certain celebrities or maybe people in your own life who like suddenly have like, it's not even a dump truck. It's like a full shelf of an ass. And it also requires to like make it look more proportional because some people go extreme. You'll do like implant fat transfers on your hips too.
Mm-hmm.
So just picturing me with that. I don't have a narrow waist, so you would have to do so much to kind of create those proportions. And it made me laugh so fucking hard. I don't know what the point of this was. Oh, hotties with bodies. And I was gonna say one of us has an ass, the other one phase 2.
We all have bodies, though.
We do all have bodies.
We just have different bodies.
Exactly. I have a butt that looks like a turtle standing on its back legs.
It's got a little hump to it. I said you were thicker than a dolphin.
Thank you. Thank you. The bar is so low.
I think you misunderstood the tweet because it said out of all the animal kingdom. So that's a lot of animals.
Okay.
So
That is a lot of animals. You're not wrong. I'm learning a lot about animals with our nephew because he just got a new book that has even more animals. And constantly I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
do you follow that guy on TikTok that gives animal facts?
No, I don't think so.
I think you should follow it so that
I can tell Soren.
Mhm.
He will be pretty excited. He's got like a Peppa Pig book from the library. And he's like memorized all of these books. And so like I constantly am just looking at him like he can read. He can't. He's 2. He's memorized it.
but
I'm
that's
just
still
like,
a big feat.
he's the best. So what's new with you?
I just, enjoyed my Thanksgiving early.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to starting tomorrow to Sunday, where no one except for I do have to do one podcast on Friday. It was supposed to be yesterday, but one of the hosts had to have emergency mouth surgery,
What?
like a root canal or something.
Oh.
Yeah. And so then we couldn't record.
That sucks.
But I'm still going to be free.
Fucking free. It feels like the holidays have crept up so much. We picked up our turkey on Sunday and Mont was like, today he was like, is there anything you need me to do to prep the turkey while you're doing the podcast? And I was like, oh, I haven't even thought about it. Like I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to do like, I did like a dry salt brine one year where it was like a couple day long process. It was not worth it.
Yep. Usually it's not.
Yeah.
As long as you get the flavor under the skin,
Yeah.
then you're fine.
Turkey is turkey. It'll be fine. It'll happen. And I get to hang out with Soren. So it'll be fun. I'm excited. And then you get to go to home for Christmas.
Yeah,
Are you excited?
I am.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Are you going to like wear a Grinch costume and like scare the kiddos or anything?
We said we were going to do sweaters on Christmas, but I'm thinking of just getting like a Mrs. Claus full outfit.
Oh, sexy.
Yeah.
Just not the sexy one.
Not the sexy
Yeah.
one, since I'll be around
Wrong
the children,
audience.
but not the frumpy one either.
Yeah.
In the middle.
In the middle. Like cute.
Yeah.
Wholesome, but like would date Mrs. Claus look.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
And I'll probably wear my black patent knee-length boots to go with it.
Ooh, okay. Katie Heron, Mean Girls shit, for sure. I guess we should give a spiel on this podcast. This is But Am I Wrong? Where every week we talk about our lives, we read submissions from all of you, and then we talk about current events and things that are happening. And we decide who is the hero and who is the villain in each of the situations. If you want to submit for the listener portion, send us an email at butamiwrongpod@gmail.com, 300 words or less, and give us a summary of your situation.
You did a wonderful job, Megan.
Thank you.
So we should read results.
Oh, yeah. And we did get some comments from people who wanted more descriptive because it's 2 weeks later.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also need you all to stop voting before you've listened to the episode.
Yeah.
People have been like, well, I just like get excited and so I vote first.
But you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, don't do that, please. It is not helpful. And I think I'm going to reformat the sliders. Some people don't like it. So we're going to figure this out. But we're slowly inching our way to it. And I would like to remind everybody that because the premise is, but am I wrong? You're voting for on Instagram who is wrong.
Right. It's in the title.
Okay. So first up, we have Melisa versus her mom. Mom wanting to come visit for your birthday. And overwhelmingly, sorry, Mom, you were wrong. I'd say like 95%.
Yeah. Maybe even like 98.
Valid, very fair. I will say I definitely go through and like see who like votes like the other way. And I'm like, are you mistaken or are you just like constantly hate listening to this? Like, are you Rachel?
Might be.
Potentially. Do you want to do the next step one or do you want me to do it?
I'll do it. So it's Meghan versus the manifestation girlies. Who's wrong? I think this is pretty much the same as previous. 98% manifestation girlies.
I love to go through and see the people who say I'm completely wrong. So this one was basically manifestation can be incredibly problematic and the girl bossification of it is that. Now we have writer number 1 versus being okay with flirting with a guy in a relationship. And it is like 99% the writer is wrong. Anyone who said the opposite, unless they voted wrong, I'm like, you're telling on yourself. Like, we know which kind of person you are in this situation. Oof.
All right. So the next one is writer number 2 versus the ex-friend who she previously ghosted and used cousin's death to renew friendship. Who is wrong? Say like 80% say that the ex-friend was.
And for anyone who some people got confused by the wording of this one. So the writer has an ex-friend who she ghosted, but then the ex-friend was the one who was using the death because someone was like, I don't get it.
But did they listen to the episode?
I don't know. Stop voting unless you have listened to the episode. And like you have time, you know? You got some time to do it. So then we have writer number 3 versus the friend group of guys who stopped talking to her. That was like her ex-boyfriend and now she's dating another guy in the group. And it is like 45 right or wrong.
Yeah, 45.
Yeah. So we're like almost 50-50, but I think that makes sense.
All right, then the next one, writer number 4 versus her boyfriend's culture. So this is the one where the writer went out with her boyfriend and everyone's speaking Spanish and she didn't really understand. Plus she wanted to salsa dance and he didn't want to do salsa dancing.
And the birthday girl who they went for does not speak English.
Right. And so 90% say that the writer's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this is when I like to go through and see. And I'm like, what is this going on with these people? Which is fine, you know. Then we have Wrong of the Week. First one, Travis Scott and Astro World. This is the most we have ever had for vote. And it is overwhelmingly like 99%.
99.99. You can't even see any little bit of like
literally
red.
Like it is almost entirely everyone saying Travis Scott and Astro World's fault. I think we both, the next one too, I think we picked really, really like decisive ones.
Yes. And so the next one is Who's Wrong? Ingo Rademacher versus Disney. But this is a guy from General Hospital that wouldn't get vaccinated, so he got fired. His last day is today, I believe, which that's airing, which I'm very excited about. They're sending him off on a business trip. So this is pretty much the same, 99.9%.
Wow. See, here's what I would like to know. For the people who voted that he was like not at fault at all, I would absolutely love to know if you could just clarify for me. Are you an anti-vaxxer or are you transphobic?
Or racist too, because he said he made a racist comment as well.
Any of those three, maybe pick and choose, like two out of three? Is it 3 out of 3? Which one is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of you, I feel like I can tell when someone's voting wrong, and it's usually they have like blue hair and have like a pride flag in their bio and like have like a GoFundMe that's there for any sort of cause-driven thing. Those people, I'm like, I think you voted wrong. There's a lot of other stuff I see that I go, ooh, is that an RN in the bio? Uh-oh, yikes. And I'm like, oh, you're here because you love to hate.
Mm-hmm.
This is self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we'll get into our first segment of But Am I Wrong? And this is where we either pick something from our own lives that we were wrong about or a hot take.
What do you have?
So I have a hot take. Another angelic week for me.
Cannot say the same about myself. I had multiple to choose from personal stories this week.
Mine is, I don't think this part is a hot take, that we don't hold men as accountable to things as we do women. But the specific take is Chrissy Teigen, who I will no longer ever defend. I used to in the past, but all these tweets and messages that have surfaced about her, I just don't agree with a lot of things that she's done. This past week, she hosted a Squid Games party, but she also hosted it with her husband, but all the headlines are saying Chrissy Teigen had this party and no one's holding him accountable.
I literally didn't even think about that part of it.
It is a party that they both threw. And why are people just attacking her and not him?
That is such a good point. I unfollowed her on like stuff. It's too. Just like, I also think that like when someone has said or done something that is like incredibly like damaging, just to a point where like if I'm not a part of like the community that they have like specifically offended, but even if I am, like there is just like a level of like, I need to unfollow you for a bit. And like if I like later on decide that I feel like you've handled this in a way that is adequate, if I'm a part of the group who has been offended, or if I am not, if I see that other people have felt that this has been really worked on, I'm just gonna like tap out for a bit. But I saw it on a different post, and the irony of the fact that like BuzzFeed had reported it, yet BuzzFeed has like 15 quizzes about like, how would you die in Squid Games? Like buy the most Squid Game aesthetic things for your holiday wish list that are like all affiliate links. And I was like, this is super odd in that there is kind of this vendetta, but at the same time, people used to be so annoyed because it was like BuzzFeed was obsessed with her. And it reminds me of like the fangirl to troll pipeline, where like you become so obsessed with someone, and then when they can't be held to, in most cases, I mean unrealistic standards. I don't think what she did is like an unrealistic thing that we should be expecting people to do. Like that was a really fucked up stuff that she had.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
said. But when she did that, then they turned so
Right.
hard because they had gone so hard for her, like positively before. But the SNL did like a whole Squid Games like song.
I know a lot of people have. I haven't watched Squid Games.
Me neither.
I won't watch it because it's not my cup of tea. There's nothing fun about that type of thing. That's not my genre.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna attack her for doing this, why aren't we attacking John Legend too?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Matza sent me the original article, and I think that like I'm one of those people that I'm like, I just think that at this point for everybody involved, like I just probably wouldn't post that kind of stuff. Like it's not necessary to post it, but
she does things to post them.
Yeah, but it's also like I never even like recognize like, oh yeah, she did this with her husband and he's getting none of it.
Yeah. So there's my hot take for this week. Hold men to the same standards as you hold women. If you're going to attack the woman, attack the man too.
It does like filter into a lot of stuff. So, like if a woman is dating like a man who has like done something bad or whatever, like you get absolutely torn apart. But if a man is dating like a woman who's like quote unquote problematic or something, that's very much none of their own, like, you know, that's none of your business, like blah, blah, blah. That's a really good one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so with you. So mine is personal. And again, I had a couple to choose from because I woke up and chose violence on every form of social media this week.
Does it have to do with baby names?
No, I didn't even have to choose that one, which I totally could have. But this one is me versus Rebecca, who works at US Bank. So a couple of days ago, when you are all listening to this, it'll be much longer, but the trial finished and we got the verdict for the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. And so I reshared to my story a tweet from the New York Times that says, Kyle Rittenhouse, who fatally shot 2 men and wounded another, was found not guilty on intentional homicide and 4 felony charges in a deeply divisive case that fed national debate over vigilantism, gun rights, and the definition of self-defense. And so I reshared that and I just said disgusting. That's all. There are sometimes I post things like the time where I said, I don't know, it was something about like abortions and they said they're praying for me. And I said, I'm casting a satanic spell on you. Like, I know what I'm doing when I'm saying those things. Like, that's going to get people out of the, like people who are like, I'm not usually offended by what you post, blah, blah, blah. This, of everything I've ever posted, I just reshared it, said disgusting. She responded, and this is a random girl on Instagram. You stupid commie cunt. I reply, can I help you, Rebecca? You are the worst kind of person on the internet. All you care about is that this kid was white. If he was black, you wouldn't be pulling the race card. The justice system determined the verdict. They're not obsessed with race and propaganda like you are. You are so brainwashed. People like you should be shipped off to an island to starve, ruining this country. SMH, with like the hand smacking face emoji. And I was like, oh my, wow. Okay. And in typical me fashion and form, I'm like, where does this girl, this is not a private account. This is not like everything is hidden, like no profile picture. This is not a Finsta, nothing. So a quick little search pulls up where she works, her LinkedIn, all of that. And I see that she works at a bank, which means that she is dealing with people. She's not self-employed. If someone like works for an MLM and they like send me a message like this, like I'm not gonna like fucking reach out and be like, hey, Lularoe, I'm just letting you know. Like, no. If it fits, it fits. Like this, I'm like, mm-mm. So naturally I reach out to US Bank and I say, hi, I just wanted to know if this behavior is aligned with your company values. And it kind of blew up on Twitter. And even people who were like not on my side of it were like, do I agree with like the verdict of the trial, but like she can't say that to people. Like you can't do all this. And then it got into this whole discussion of people being like, you can't be fired for personal opinions. Physical threats of violence are not an opinion. Neither is name calling or any of that. And you can be fired for.
You can be fired for any reason.
Welcome to capitalism. Yeah. Like, truly, like this is something that like I think like that is so lost on people who are like so anti any like government intervention and regulation in whether it's like work or income or homes or assets, resources, anything like that. I was just like, you're kidding me. And also like you sign a social media contract at companies that like either you have to like come on, burner account. You can't have any, like, you are tied to that. Very similar to, like, you know, sororities. And I was like, come on. So she deleted everything. She unsent all of her DMs. She like privated her whole LinkedIn. She deleted her Facebook. She, I think, changed the name of her Instagram, like all of this wild, wild stuff. And people are still like arguing about it all over my Twitter. But in the words of Taylor Swift, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Did you get a response back from US Bank?
Yeah, they said we've like forwarded this on to like the right party and like thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Well,
but a ton of people have been like messaging them. Like one girl was like, if you don't do this, I'm closing my account. Like I've been there for 15 years, like blah, blah, blah. And also the people who've been like, well, what if someone did that to you? And I was like, go right ahead.
Who's going to do it? Like,
if like you've seen me saying like any like really like radical liberal opinions and you want to reach out to any of the brands that sponsor me, like go right ahead. I would love if then we weed any of those people out who don't want to, but also they have to do their due diligence. Like I don't get certain brand deals because of like how I talk online and how I've been online. Like that's how the nature of this goes. And just the idea that people are like, you can't be messing with someone's livelihood. I'm like, I didn't, she did.
She's the one that started it. She didn't have to say one thing to you.
Nope. And it's like, well, be the bigger person. And I'm like, well, like, karma will do its own thing. And I'm like, hi, I'm Karma. Nice to meet you, bitch. But even someone said, like, I agree with, like, what she said, but, like, I think, like, this girl, Meghan, was, like, wrong for sending it to her work. But, like, when you have dumb and wrong, dumb is always going to lose. Mm-hmm. She shouldn't have, like, had any of that stuff public. Like, if she has those repercussions, it's not because her company found out what she said.
It's because she said it.
She said it. There's nothing for them to find out if you don't say anything.
She felt real brave that day.
She felt very, very brave. Also, someone was like, you baited her. And I said, can I help you, Rebecca? That's not baiting at all. I was shocked that she even replied after that one because I was like, okay, because on her other like social media accounts, like there were some like, posts for like pro like women's rights kind of things. And it was very much like, I don't want to make this political. And I was like, oh, so what has happened to you in the last like couple years? Because you were like towing the line of like, I don't want to upset people, but like I care about women's rights, to then being like full force. I don't know. I like to blame men for these things.
Yeah, but you got to give her her own responsibility too. And her actions will be dealt with.
Mm-hmm. That is the truth. So I do not think I was wrong at all. I have no problem whatsoever reporting anyone to like their work at all, especially if they're working with customer service or working with people like, and they're not self-employed. Like, no, your company has the right to know how you speak to people online.
Yep. Let's get into our next section, which is, but are they wrong? And this is when people write in and share. This one is about a mom and child. I'm a senior in high school and just started applying to universities. I asked my mom to read over my application just to make sure I had everything correct, that I didn't forget to add anything, and so that she could pay the $100 application fee. There was a space to add a third party who would have access to your application status and, if accepted, all your grades, information, classes, etc. I had left this section blank because I thought it was unnecessary and kind of childish. She tried adding herself into this section, and I stopped her. It ended up being a huge argument, which was unexpected because she had never been that concerned with my grades. I have to send my report cards. She doesn't know the login or the day they come out. Her argument is that it won't be any different than it is now, so I shouldn't be making such a big deal out of this. I said that the whole point of university is to be independent and be an adult. She also said that if she is the one paying for it, she wants to know what is going on with my schooling. My mom and stepdad don't have any money put aside and have offered to take out loans. I said that if the money is going to be held over my head like this for the next 4 years, I would rather just take out the loans myself. Instead of waiting for her and our fight to be over, I just submitted the application myself and paid the fee. Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong.
No.
I don't want to like collude these two things together because they're very much not that. But like before you get to like financial abuse, there gets to be, and not saying that this was going to go anywhere close to that, but when there is money being held over your head, like that puts you in a really tough space constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that like is not a necessary thing in this circumstance, you know? Like you don't need your mom, like it's loans either way.
Agree. I think that you should take out the loans in your names anyway, because as long as she has some type of say and control, then she's going to try to control your life.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be an adult, I take it you're not technically adult yet since you got your dad's permission. But if you don't want her to have any say, then don't give her any reason to have say. So I don't think that you're wrong in any of this.
I don't think so either. And also, like, then if anything were to potentially happen, it's in your control.
Right.
So, yeah, you're not wrong at all. Absolutely not at all. Okay. Next up, I am 20, she, her pronouns, and my boyfriend is 22, he, him pronouns, and his mom is also she, her pronouns. This past weekend was my boyfriend and I's 1-year anniversary, and this is my first real relationship. As we are making plans the Monday before our anniversary, he tells me his mom called him today and she's coming to visit for the weekend. He said it was very last minute because his dad was leaving town for the weekend and she didn't want to be alone. He then asked me if she could join us for dinner on Saturday, our anniversary. I reluctantly accepted because I felt like I had no other option. I thought that my boyfriend had forgotten to mention our anniversary to her when he talked to her, but he did mention it and she decided to come anyway. The night of the dinner, my boyfriend informed me neither he nor his mom had dinner reservations on a busy Saturday night, despite the fact that I had encouraged them to make reservations at the restaurant we all agreed upon. We had to jump around to restaurants trying to avoid a 2-hour wait, and on the car ride there, my boyfriend mentions our anniversary, and his mom says, "Are we still doing that?" After the dinner, I was understandably upset because the night didn't feel like a celebration for us. He claims that there was no way he could have asked her not to come to dinner, and he also didn't actively make other plans to celebrate our anniversary another night. Am I wrong? Should I just get over it? Ugh.
I'd be so mad.
I would be so mad. Like, I don't know if you're downplaying how mad you are, but like from this in itself, like I feel like I would be so much more mad. This is just like no boundary. I mean, we all know the red flags that I talk about anytime that there's like a zero boundary with a mother-son relationship. I'm like, red flag, run. But this seems like he is at fault and his mom's at fault, you know, but like you're not dating his mom, you're dating him. And I just think that like you should be able to tell your mom like, oh, hey, sorry, we have our 1-year anniversary. We're not going to be able to do this. But then at the same time, I'm like, kind of did you a favor because it's not like he actually planned anything. It sounds like you were the catalyst, like driving the idea of like, oh, let's do something. Let's like celebrate, blah, blah, blah. And he couldn't even plan it when his mom was here.
Right.
And like her saying like, oh, are we still doing that? So rude.
Ugh.
Ew. Like she is the third person in this relationship. There's no way that he could have asked her not to come. How about this? Hey, mom, it's actually blah, blah, blah. And I's anniversary that weekend. I'm sorry that dad's not going to be home, but we have plans. Love you. Bye. This is not like a hard place to be in.
No.
You know what I mean? Like he had lots and lots and lots of options.
He would rather spend time with you and his mom on your anniversary than just you.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he really gives a shit about the anniversary at all,
No.
even though you've made it clear it's important to you. So like, even if it's not your gut reaction or like your gut instinct to feel like, oh, this date is important, I like celebrating this. It's like, oh, my partner wants to do this and you can't even plan it. You are not wrong. Don't get over it. Stuff needs to seriously change or like bounce. But hey, let's be honest. This is red flags, mama's boy. My automatic assumption is just bounce.
Bounce, baby, out the door.
I think I know that song.
I don't want your shit no more.
Nope, not that one. Nope, lost it.
All right, so we're going to take a break now.
Whee! And then we'll be back. Should we hop into the next?
Sure. I am a 27-year-old female, and the guy, he, him, is 24, and his girlfriend, she, her, is 25. We met through mutual friends and got on all right. had a similar sense of humor and interest, but never hung out one-on-one. His girlfriend would sometimes hang out with our friend group, so I met her a few times. Right before COVID-19, we went on a night out. Our friends went into a bar ahead of us, and the bouncer wouldn't let the guy in because he was too drunk. I suggested we get some food to sober him up. He then made a pass at me, put his hands down my dress, started saying he was really into me and we should have sex. This made me super uncomfortable. Thankfully, our friends then came to find us. I put this down to him being blackout drunk. A few weeks later, my housemate, 27, him, invited this guy to our house to watch football. The guy got drunk and tried to kiss me. The next day, I texted him saying he made me feel really uncomfortable and conflicted in respect of his girlfriend and making it clear I didn't like him in that way. He was very apologetic. I have avoided seeing him since. Part of me feels guilty for never telling his girlfriend about this, but another part of me isn't sure whether it was my responsibility.
Ew, ew, ew.
Twice you rejected him.
Yeah.
And he has a girlfriend.
Yeah. And just so wildly inappropriate.
Mm-hmm. So she's wondering if she's wrong for not telling the girlfriend.
No, if you don't want to, but like,
if you don't feel comfortable to, then no.
Yeah, because like this is something that happened to you that like you can decide how you like view the situation or not, but like this was like someone non-consensually touching you and coming on to you, especially when they're drunk and also a man. So this is your story and your experience. If you regard it as trauma, that's your choice. You don't owe her anything in this, like you owe everything to yourself. But if you want to tell her and you just feel like you should, like you just feel like it's not your place to tell her and you shouldn't tell her, like you totally can't. Like if that's something you want to do, like fully go for it. But if it's not something you want to do, you don't owe anyone that.
Yeah. If you feel comfortable to do it, then do it. If not, then don't do it. And I think you're doing the right thing by, keeping your distance too.
Yeah. What about with like the fucking roommate who like invites him over to watch football and stuff? Like,
does the roommate know?
I mean, if he would got drunk and tried to kiss her at the watching, where they're all watching.
It was like the
more private.
Yeah. It was a friend not in the room.
Yeah. Because I think if you feel comfortable and like, I think avoiding him are right on that. But so I think if you feel comfortable letting your roommate know or someone else know, like, so he's like not being invited around anymore. Cause like, this is not an okay thing for him to do.
Huh. Sorry.
Yeah. Fuck that. Last one of the But Are You Wrongs? Dear Meghan and Melissa, I work in an office environment with around 8 ladies, age range like 25 to 45. There's one girl in her mid-30s and we don't have much in common, therefore don't hang out outside of work and small talk is minimal. She talks a lot about her sex life in the office and I do feel like our coworkers live vicariously through her wild and exciting life. This easiest way I can describe her is she's a total Samantha. Everyone loves her, but although she's well-liked, she doesn't seem to have close friends. We have worked together for about 3 years now and have never had any issues. I respect her as a colleague and she is good at her job. She has had major mood swings over the last 6 months and has become really difficult to work with. Some days she walks in looking fabulous and she's really mean and sassy, but not in a good way. Some days she shows up in sweatpants and no makeup looking not great. So side note, the writer term that they used was hella homeless. And I just want to make a statement that is incredibly problematic and not okay to say.
At all. That's not something that we stand by.
No. Wanted to censor, but also wanted to let you know if you didn't know.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.
That is not a term to use in this sense at all. And she looks borderline on the verge of tears. Some days she looks presentable and is work efficient. There are so many versions of her, I can't keep up with which version we're going to get. The biggest issue I have is the attitude. She talks to people like shit and either disguises it as humor or says a half-ass apology and then says, I have a lot going on. I do think she's a lot going on and serious mental health issues that she needs help with. Everyone is just brushing this under the carpet because as soon as someone says mental health, everyone starts walking on eggshells. I spoke to my manager about her behavior and I was told you cannot suggest to people that they need therapy. I was made to feel like I was the villain for saying her recent behavior is unacceptable, and yet all I suggested is that she needs help. I have good intentions, but I appreciate it's not 2009 anymore, so you can't just call someone bipolar when they have mood swings. I have tried to handle the situation as gently as I can. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Whatever's going on in her personal life is affecting her work performance, and I would feel 100% more sympathetic if she stopped being mean, but feel like she has a free pass to say do whatever she wants because she has mental health issues. It's so hard because I do believe she does and believe she needs professional help, but do not agree with her behavior recently. So hit me with tough love. Am I the asshole in this situation? Well, you used the word homeless to describe. So
you used the word homeless and you said bipolar. If you're saying this to us, everyone, when you're describing things that you go through, you usually, make yourself seem like in the best light possible. So if you went to your employer and said that she needed therapy, which you cannot say, that makes me believe that you probably brought up by her being bipolar in this meeting, as well as saying she looks homeless or said something that was worse. If you went in there and just talked about her job performance and that's it, then that would have been fine. But you brought mental health into it.
Yeah, that's on you.
Yeah, and since you brought that into the situation, then you are wrong in this situation.
Yeah, 100%. Like this is... I am against anyone suggesting to someone, hey, I think you need to go to therapy, unless it is a mental health professional, or if it's someone you're incredibly close to, you already personally attend therapy. There's nothing more patronizing than someone who does not go to therapy tells someone else that they need therapy. Like, fuck off. And if someone is going through something like a mental health crisis or they're like really depressed or whatever, it's the same thing as like telling someone that like, oh, did you know you've gained weight? And you're like, oh, I have no fucking idea. Like, oh, you're really depressed. Maybe you should get some help. Oh, no fucking way. I had no idea I wasn't doing well. People have to like come to their own terms of like when they're ready to do that kind of stuff. And that's like how I feel in personal relationships. Like, I don't think that like pressuring someone to go to therapy is, as somebody who's been on the receiving end of that, like, and I've also 100% done it to friends before and have like since apologized. Like, that was so out of pocket and fucked up. And like, I've been on the reverse and like, it sucks. Like, you cannot do that at work at all. Like, if there are certain things, like she's being really mean. Is she being mean to you? Is she being mean to other coworkers? Like, what is your responsibility here in like facilitating her day-to-day behavior? Like, and what she wears. Like, this is like very much like, oh, I'm recognizing that she's going through this like mental health thing. And like, I feel like I need to bring it up to like our employee. Like, no, that's also like as somebody who deals with like mental health struggles, if I confide in like a coworker that I'm like not doing well, and then you go tell our boss, no, she has to be the one to disclose her own like medical information if she wants to. And like, if you're having specific trouble with her on a work project or something that she has said, you address those things in the moment. And then like you can tell your boss, like, she's been late on delivering X, Y, and Z. Or if she's like being rude to somebody, like have a conversation with them aside, be like, hey, how do you feel about that interaction? How can I assist you in those situations? Like, and they're like, no, I really don't care. I don't want to say anything. Then like you don't, but like you can't go around like micromanaging and controlling everyone and everything. Cause like you're not her employer. If they like don't like her behavior, they can fire her and that can be it. But like you don't get to have it be like, well, I want to come at this from an empathetic way and I like she needs help, but I don't agree with her behavior. Like none of it's your problem.
Right.
And like if it is too hard for you to work with somebody like this who like you feel like you need to simultaneously save, but then also judge and like talk to your boss about, like this might not be the job for you. I just really don't like how this was painted. It feels like very clear that either she's not been diagnosed and has told you that she deals with bipolar disorder, or you have decided that she has, because like you really tried to paint this in like she's wearing these clothes one day and then these clothes, like it's super irrelevant.
Yeah, you're wrong. This is not your place. And we shouldn't be out here judging other people's mental health, especially when it comes to work, because you actually could be fired for this.
Without a doubt. She could come to your boss and then you could get in trouble for this. You are the villain for saying that that she needs to go to therapy. She needs help. And like, that's unacceptable. Unless she asked you or unless your boss asked you, like, unless you are afraid that somebody is going to do harm to themselves or others, you need to step the fuck back. Also, other people can see that shit. Do you know what I mean? I really hate when people are like, well, I have to do something because nobody else, like, she works with other people. People, not, what? Was that the last one of these?
Yep, that was the last one.
Okay. So now it is time for, but are they wrong? Also fondly known as Rachel of the Week, Asshole Idiot of the Week. Who would you like to nominate?
I would like to nominate Judge Bruce Schroeder. So this is the judge in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. He basically made a mockery of the judicial system, not allowing them to use the word victim when it came to the people that were killed, allowing this asshole to pick jurors at random out of, I don't know what that was, like a bingo thing. You know what I'm talking about, when you play bingo and they spin the numbers and pull it out. And just the way that he handled this whole trial, he made a mockery of the judicial system, which is a joke to begin with, but he was the ringleader in this clown show. And yeah, fuck him.
Yes, I agree with absolutely everything. I also think that there truly should be, like, we talk about old white men all of the time. And like, do I think that old white men don't deserve rights? I mean, no, that's not what I'm saying. Do I think that there should be like certain jobs, which as an old white man, you are either you age out of, or like you have to continuously pass tests, like similar to driving tests? And being a judge is one of them. So clearly wildly biased and like just like a fucking bigot and idiot and asshole that like the fact that we all watched it happen is like, wow.
I knew what the outcome was going to be, so there was no surprise to me when it was announced, but just the way the whole thing was handled.
It was like a TV show. Like,
I know. And this judge is a Democrat.
What?
Yeah. He was nominated to the court as a Democrat. Like, he's a Democrat.
Like a Clinton Democrat, as in Bill. That's what I mean, obviously. But like what flavor of Democrat?
He was nominated in 1983.
Oh, that's a different kind of Democratic Party.
But still, he is a registered Democrat.
See, old white men. It doesn't matter what their political affiliation is.
Our president said he stood by the jury.
Yeah. It is like, well, the legal system did its job. And I'm like, yeah, it did do the job of not actually getting justice for families or victims. Like, the reason why everyone's like, well, we have to, like, it is what it is. Like, this is how we had the outcome. And I'm like, do you think if this was truly fair and truly just, like, these are the outcomes we would constantly be having? No, it's working how it's intended to work. Ugh. Mine is also about a white man.
Okay.
So I would like to nominate, and let's say this week, every week in the past, and every week moving forward, because there will constantly be something that this man is doing. Dave Portnoy. He's like the head honcho of Barstool Sports. And I've had a lot of people who have like asked questions about Barstool and like why is it problematic? Like, why blah, blah, blah. So Barstool as a whole right now, what they've done really well is they've just like parlayed into podcasts in a way that defies their regular demographic and of people who aren't familiar with like Barstool, the website and the history, which is inherently misogynistic by nature. Like by design, this is an incredibly sexist, misogynistic, problematic website. It has been forever. Employees have been like, it has always been this way. But what they do is they have podcasts, which they hire women to host and do all of this stuff, where they get a female fan base. Then they're able to not necessarily be held accountable by the people who would be really pissed off by their statements, because they have this like fake guise of like women love us, like we're doing great things, like these things are not so attached. They've like really tried to distance simultaneously, like Barstool has distanced themselves from themselves. So he is a professional asshole. Like truly, like I wouldn't call him a professional troll, but he kind of is. Like if you are familiar with like Perez Hilton from back in the day, like it's a similar kind of holy shit, how can you say this about another person kind of thing. Like constant harassment and beratement of other people. But as opposed to Perez Hilton, who would go after like specific celebrities over and over again, Dave Portnoy specifically goes after female journalists and Black athletes. So we can just tell where his affiliations are. So just a little brief history on some of his controversies. I urge everybody, I sourced these mostly from The Cut and an article in the Daily Beast. I will have them listed in the show notes, but there's way too much for me even to go through all of them. When I say he has so many controversies. In 2014, he called an ESPN reporter, Sam Ponder, a fucking slut who should sex it up and be slutty instead of talking about being a working mom. The reporter also alleges that he said her child should have been aborted, but he denies he ever said that. She said that there's a video that he has since deleted. After that, he then printed merch with a striking similarity to her face on it and a clown nose with an entire hashtag and Twitter campaign all about taking her down. Next part, trigger warning for rape, fatphobia, racism, sexism, violence against women, anti-Semitism, and transphobia. I might have missed one, but it's everything. He joked that a woman wearing size 6 skinny jeans kind of deserves to be raped, right? He joked that while we don't condone rape, should a woman pass out at one of their blackout parties and sexual assault that happens is kind of a gray area. He referred to critics of the parties as crazy bitches and ugly DYKES. I don't feel comfortable saying that word. He wrote a blog post snarling that he was bringing back the word cunt, which not one for years to reclaim. Barstool then promoted the since deleted blog post with the headline, "Slut Reporter Drinks Cam Newton's Jizz." He said that anyone who blocked traffic while protesting state-sanctioned violence and the racist policing of African Americans deserves to die a horrible, gruesome, slow death. And not enough bad things can happen to these people. I want them all harassed, dead, and murdered. Further, he wrote multiple pro-torture blog posts, multiple transphobic blog posts, homophobic ones. There's another employee there who has one of the very front-facing ones, a long-standing affinity for jokes about Jewish people. Well, Portnoy and 2 other higher-ups conducted an exit interview with a female intern on the rundown, and he said that his coworkers were engaged in a race to see who could fuck her first. He also threatened to fire Barstool employees who tried to engage in union organizing activity. And currently, what has happened is he has been outed for repeatedly going after just legal women and very, very legal women and having violating and humiliating sex with them. I'm not going to dive into this stuff because I can't issue enough of a trigger warning in it. It's really intense, accounts that these women have alleged, and that's on The Cut. I would really recommend people reading that article. But it is one of those conversations of, oh, wow, this is not illegal, but it should be. And it seems like we have in the law, which we do, this thick black line of what people consider sexual assault and rape, what is okay and what is not. And in reality, it's not that line is ever held up in court. Do you know what I mean? It's not there's any real well, if you go past this line, you're going to try someone and then they're going to go sent to jail or anything like that. No, but it seems like people have this arbitrary idea of what assault is or things that are just unacceptable. And then these things happen. And then it's well, not this. This doesn't count towards that. And I'm in hypothetical, you would think that this would. But he's built an entire brand on misogyny, slut shaming, and perpetual harassment. One of the biggest things with Barstool, if you are anti-Barstool, any journalist or anything, he will literally go on Instagram lives for hours, just saying vile shit about them, make podcasts about them, make merch about them, all of this kind of shit. And it becomes this mob mentality. And they do all of these podcasts, like I said at the beginning, that are hey, with women that are hey, women like us, blah, blah, blah. And it's the I have a black friend argument, essentially, of what they're doing and perpetuating this constant violence against women. And it targets internalized misogyny with all of these podcasts. And I feel horribly for the people who, I assume there are some women there who are stuck in contracts or have been hired and were incredibly broke and didn't.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Have access to this was their job and they got hired and they have been kind of stuck in this sort of thing. And women, a sad, unfortunate fact of all of our lives, we all go through internalized misogyny. We all have to unlearn it at some point. And this just feels like a very bad hiding of we're a brand that banks on a brand that's built on misogyny, and we're going to have all of these podcasts with women doing all of them, talking about like, you know, women's issues light, and they're still going to all be under this brand that is inherently misogynistic, and we're going to breed all of these women to not unpack their internalized misogyny and just be even more misogynistic. And it's just horrible. And I am not, you can separate the art from the artist. And this one specifically is like, if you support content that he puts out or his company puts out, you are by definition supporting him, because that's what the site is. Like, that's what this is built on. It's been built on his personality and what he is like. And it has always remained that way. And just because you listen to a podcast that is completely unrelated, but is still with Barstool, hold those people to a standard of send a message and being like, I really love your podcast and I really love your show. I don't feel comfortable like supporting Barstool. I really hope that there is a time where you are no longer working with them. I would love to know, as a fan of you, what can I do to help make this show that I love succeed without them? Follow those podcast hosts on their personal accounts, like do all of that stuff. This is nothing against those women, unless those women have like doubled down on those views and everything. And this is kind of how I felt with like the Call Her Daddy, like Alex Cooper kind of like leaving and whatever. I'm like, I really hope that the views of this podcast change and like things change, because I want to see people succeed outside of like leaving Barstool and all of that. But I'm just like very, very, very done with like seeing people defend the podcast that they listen to and the content that they listen to that is produced by Barstool, and then be like, well, I don't know anything about Barstool. And like, when simultaneously, when all these things are going on, you are contributing to the success of this incredibly problematic company. It's every day is something new. It's just horrendous.
Yeah, these are awful people.
Awful, 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 awful people. So that is our episode. And if you want to vote and let us know who you thought was wrong in these situations, head on over to our Instagram. We will have a story. It'll be in our highlight. And you basically have like 24 hours.
Should we wait till Fridays to post it so it gives people a day to listen?
Oh, we'll do that on Fridays. Hopefully that works better for all of you. And remember, when you are voting, you are picking who is wrong or who is more wrong. And if you want to follow us on our socials, I'm at Meghan Rinks everywhere. Go watch my YouTube channel and, presets, book, all of those fun things.
And I am at She Is Not Melisa, and then also at Diamond Imprint Productions. Please follow and listen to all the podcasts I produce and all the audiobooks I direct and anything I breathe on. Thank you.
Hell yeah. And then please go comment on our latest Instagram post or slide into our DMs and let us know what topics you want us to talk about for the But Are They Wrong nominating the Rachel of the Week, because again, we are pre-recording for the holiday season. Mm-hmm. We would love to know.
So
we'll circle back and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Goodbye. But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Meghan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to speak of them or talk about them or in any way portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. It would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, Now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.